might spot a woman walking down the aisle with her husband, or catch a man flirting with a string of girls. But what your eyes see isn't always the full story. The truth is, there are black stars who loved both men and women, a secret that only a handful of them dared to confront head-on. They dazzled under the spotlight. But behind that polished image were messy, complicated relationships that not everyone was ready to own up to. These are bisexual icons who fought tooth and nail to live authentically in a world still weighed down by stigma and judgment. And the 23 stories I'm about to share are living proof of the journeys of celebrities who found the courage to step out from the shadows of society's expectations and follow their hearts. Are you ready to see them in a whole new way? Get ready, because some of these names are going to blow your mind. 23. Bessie Smith, the Blues Queen and the Wild Nights, hidden behind Harlem's glow. Bessie Smith, a name that echoed across early 20th century America as the Empress of the Blues. She didn't just sing, she commanded stages with a voice so fiery it left audiences weak in the knees, lost in applause and strong drinks. In an era when black people were still treated as less than. Bessie stood unapologetic, a blazing symbol of the Harlem Renaissance. In 1923, Bessie tied the knot with Jack G. But that wedding ring couldn't tame her untamed heart, fresh off her vows. She hit the road, leading her troupe through the South and up to the big cities. Every night, she'd pull the stage curtain shut, but fling open the doors to all-night parties in Chicago's gritty nightclubs. There, you'd see her tangled up with smooth-talking men. But it was the late hours when Bessie truly came alive. Lillian Simpson, a young, fair-skinned dancer with fearless eyes, trailed Bessie like a shadow on every tour. Lillian was her sultry counterpart after each show. The two would slip away to cramped, rented rooms, doors bolted, with only the faint hum of jazz drifting up from the floor below. By the late 1920s, Harlem's hush-hush clubs rolled out the red carpet just for Bessie. Inside, the air was thick with liquor, opium, and the sweat of women intertwined. Bessie clung to Lillian like she clung to her whiskey, brushing off Jack's jealous rages outside. Once, Jack hired someone to tail her, only to get a sharp slap across the face when he dared confront his wife. Songs like Foolish Man Blues poured from Bessie's lips, dripping with scorn for weak men who couldn't cage her desires. Those who heard it felt chills. Backstage, she'd casually lean her head on Lillian's lap, smirking at society's rules. The world cruelly divided people by race. But Bessie shattered the laws of love. People feared her power. Whispers spread that if a tragic 1937 accident hadn't cut her down, she might have turned Harlem into a labyrinth of raw desire and untamed passion. Her blues weren't just music, they were daring confessions, laying bare the secret nights of Harlem that were never spoken aloud. 22. Ma Rainey, the mother of the blues, hiding a secret that challenged all of America. Ma Rainey didn't just perform blues, she gave it life, shaping the raw sound of black music that erupted across America. They called her the Mother of the Blues, a voice that carved a path for generations of black artists to step onto stages without fear of being crushed. In 1928, Ma Rainey unleashed Prove It On Me blues like a punch to the face of a society still harsh on women and black folks. The song didn't hide her truth. She wasn't afraid to love both men and women. In the 1920s, she stood on makeshift Southern tent stages, surrounded by young dancers in bold outfits, moving close enough to raise eyebrows. Those in the know understood those dancers weren't just there for the show. When the curtains fell, Ma would take them back to her home in Columbus, Georgia. By day, her house welcomed guests. By night, it turned into a den of revelry. Liquor flowed, blues roared, and bedroom doors stayed locked tight. Will Rainey, Her husband knew it all but turned a blind eye. He knew better than to challenge Ma. She was stronger than any wall in her way. When unexpected visitors knocked, she'd stand guard, making sure no one stepped in until the traces of her wild nights were swept away. Friends whispered that dancers clung to Ma for bigger roles, trading intimate nights in return. Ma didn't hide or feel ashamed. She turned blues into a weapon, exposing both her desires and the hypocrisy of the world outside. Through the 1920s and 1930s, Ma's home overflowed with laughter, the scent of liquor, women's perfume, and cigarette smoke. Those who stepped inside kept their lips sealed. If Ma had lived longer, her modest Columbus villa might have become the South's most notorious party spot. She knew society's rules, but chose to trample them. For her, blues meant freedom, a defiant finger pointed at prejudice. Every song she left behind, especially Prove It On Me blues, was a reminder she stood there, singing truths others didn't dare utter, living a life they wouldn't dream of trying. 21. Josephine Baker, Paris's icon in wild nights that burned through gendered norms. Josephine Baker wasn't just a singer or dancer. She was a global face of the Harlem Renaissance, a black star who brought Paris to its knees with her untamed, seductive fire. On the stages of Folies Bergère, she became a whirlwind, erasing every boundary in her path. In the 1920s, Josephine fled America, leaving behind its suffocating laws against black people. She landed in Paris and turned stages into spaces that defied all norms. Night after night, she danced nearly nude, bananas slung around her hips, her eyes teasing European audiences who gaped at a woman bolder than they'd ever seen. They marveled at her courage, outshining the men of her time. But the stage was only half the story. Behind the curtains, Josephine drew in a parade of lovers. The writer Colette, a titan of Parisian society, fell under her spell with just a glance and a few moves. In Paris's underground gay clubs, Josephine rolled in with women, sometimes trailed by a French man, all blending into nights soaked in liquor and desire. Everyone knew she gave herself to anyone who sparked her interest. In 1937, she married Jean Leon, slipping on another ring to hush the gossip. But her wild parties never stopped. By the 1940s, as war raged, Josephine donned a French military uniform, traveling far and wide. Behind the uniform, she wielded her laugh and curves to coax secrets from officers and lovers. Gender be damned. Some nights, she'd slip out of a Nazi officer's room, only to send classified intel to Paris days later. Her greatest weapon wasn't gunfire, but her body and piercing gaze, melting every wall in her way. If you thought Josephine was just a performer, you were dead wrong. She twisted Paris into knots, breaking every rule about how women should behave. Had she lived decades longer, Paris might have exploded from the steamy, boundary-shattering parties she'd have thrown. 20. James Baldwin, bisexual black writer who shook Paris and New York. James Baldwin wasn't just a writer. He was a voice that ripped through the silence of an entire generation. With books like Giovanni's Room and Go Tell It on the Mountain, he threw raw tales of love, race, and unfiltered truth into the world's face. If you were scared, you stepped aside. He didn't. In the 1940s, James haunted the smoky cafes of New York's Greenwich Village. Amid clouds of cigarette smoke, he'd be seen with his arm around Lucien Happersberger, a white guy, or cheek to cheek with a fellow woman writer. At night, desks turned into beds, and cafes became spots for secret meetups. New York wasn't ready for that kind of openness, but James didn't care. He was fed up with America's unspoken rules strangling black people and the so-called progressives living double lives. By the early 1950s, he packed a suitcase and headed to Paris. Its chilly streets offered a different kind of warmth. There, he let himself drift through late-night bars, fleeting romances, and curious stares. Paris was his stage, and he played the role of storyteller, living beyond all limits. When Giovanni's Room dropped in 1956, it hit like a sledgehammer to those who wanted to silence him. Readers were floored, knowing he wasn't spinning fiction. Every word was drawn from his life. Lucian was still there, Paris stayed damp and alive, and James lost himself in booze, love, and endless arguments with lovers who were both jealous and terrified. The crowds whispered, and the black community, constrained by its own tight rules back then, turned critical eyes on him. But Baldwin never backed down. He poured every dark moment into his books, then returned to bars at night, embracing boyfriends, kissing girlfriends, and writing again by morning. If he hadn't lived so boldly, no one would have believed a black bisexual man could wield a pen to expose America's ugliest corners. Had he not passed in 1987, he'd probably still be somewhere in Paris, smirking at those too afraid to hear the truth. 19. Audre Lorde, black poet, living authentically amid America's feminist movement. Audre Lorde didn't just leave behind poetry. She left a life that dared to expose every hidden corner society tried to ignore, from Zami to Sister Outsider. She became a voice in the black feminist movement that no one could brush off. In the 1960s, Harlem buzzed when Audre showed up at gatherings of black writers. In rooms thick with coffee and ink, she spoke of Frances Clayton, a woman who wove through her poems while still holding hands with Edwin Rollins, her husband and a piece of her family life. Audre didn't hide. She believed love didn't need anyone's approval. By the early 1970s, as black feminism gained steam, Audre stepped out as openly bisexual. She didn't just talk about it, she wrote it raw, turning personal moments into words for all to share. Zami, published in 1982, wasn't just a memoir, it was proof she lived and loved without fear of judgment. In her 1980s university lectures, she drove home a point a black woman had the right to love whoever she chose, no matter what the world thought. At night, she'd come home to Frances by her side. Edwin never left her life either. It all flowed together, natural, no need for locked doors. People said if Audre hadn't spoken up, no one would have had the guts to do it for her. If she were still alive, she'd likely still be on stages, reciting poems about free love, the loneliness of minorities, and the strength of embracing difference. Audre left behind poetry, books, and a fearless way of living. She reminded everyone that love doesn't need to stay hidden or beg for society's permission. Her words became a vault for the secrets others were too scared to admit, opened wide for the world to see without a hint of hesitation. 18. Alice Walker, black writer whose limitless love rocked American literature. Alice Walker isn't just the author of The Color Purple. She used her words to unearth stories people kept buried. Her Pulitzer was only part of it. What really stirred the pot was how she made herself a living testament to free love. In the 1970s, Alice threw herself into San Francisco's civil rights and feminist movements. She'd show up at workshops, book launches, reading poetry to crowds, always with a lover by her side. Sometimes it was a male intellectual, other times a woman who'd slip away with her after the party ended. Those who knew Alice knew she didn't flinch at prying eyes. She wrote, she spoke. When The Color Purple hit shelves in 1982, it threw the love story of C. Lee and Shug Avery into a society that wasn't ready for it. Readers got chills, knowing Alice wasn't making it up. By the mid-1980s, she shocked the literary world again with rumors of a romance with Tracy Chapman, the singer whose haunting voice gripped America. Alice didn't deny it. In interviews, she spoke plainly about loving women, men, anyone who stirred her heart. By 1990, she publicly declared her bisexuality. Many were stunned, thinking she was just writing for effect. But her life was fiercer than her pages. At later readings, Tracy was often there, at San Francisco's dimly lit, Liquor-soaked parties. Alice sat in the center, lover close, no need to hide. If you thought The Color Purple was just a novel, you were mistaken. It was a mirror reflecting Alice's own life. If Alice had stayed silent, American literature might have lost its rawest edge. Thank God she didn't. Her love lived on paper, in late-night parties, in every handshake with fans. Alice Walker never feared scandal. She knew that as long as she kept writing and loving. She'd force the world to confront itself instead of judging her. 17. Storm&eacute DeLarverie, American drag legend and the Stonewall Riot that burned down love's barriers. Storm&eacute DeLarverie wasn't just a drag performer. She was the dividing line between an era of fear and one of freedom for the LGBTQ+ community. From the Jewel Box review stage to the 1969 Stonewall Riot, Storm&eacute became an icon no one dared touch. In the 1950s, she stepped onto stages in sharp suits, ties, and slicked-back hair. New York audiences couldn't peel their eyes away. The Jewel Box review wasn't just selling drag shows, it was selling liberation. Storm&eacute wasn't a background player. She strode out, genderless, captivating both men and women. Those who saw her perform knew the night was more than song and dance. Many left the clubs with a new spark, realizing they too could live their truth. By the 1960s, Storm&eacute was still in top form. She performed and loved freely, no boundaries. She didn't hide or boast. Want to know more? Head to Greenwich Village and see for yourself. She was a regular at gay bars, sipping beer, laughing, holding hands with lovers. One night it'd be a gorgeous woman, another a guy who looked like he feared no one. Then came 1969, the Stonewall Riot. Who started it? The gay crowd there pointed to Storm&eacute, saying she threw the first punch at the cops. Believe it or not, after that night, her name became legend. The LGBTQ+ movement caught fire, and Storm&eacute didn't vanish after the uproar. In the 1970s, she roamed the village, still hand in hand with lovers, reminding everyone loving who you want is your right. Those who lived in her era said without her, no one might have had the nerve to face police batons. If Storm&eacute had been younger, she might have sparked more riots, challenging anyone trying to crush the gay community. She left one clear truth: drag stages weren't just for entertainment, they were weapons for decades. She kept the fire burning for crowds who loved without needing society's approval. 16. Meshell Ndegeocello, black bassist, shattering every boundary of love. Meshell Ndegeocello is one of music's greatest bassists. She blended soul, jazz, and funk, weaving her raw love stories into her lyrics. Albums like Plantation Lullabies and Peace Beyond Passion are proof she never shied from dragging her private truths into the spotlight. In the 1990s, Meshell started making waves in New York. At night, she stood under the dim lights of jazz clubs, bass slung low, murmuring lyrics laced with meaning. The crowd listened, watched, and got it. Meshell hid nothing. Everyone knew she loved men. But some nights, she'd sing about a woman sitting in the audience, smiling back at her. When Peace Beyond Passion dropped in 1996, it was like slamming on the brakes, making listeners snap to attention. Meshell didn't hold back. Her lyrics laid bare same-sex love. No filter needed. She spilled the dark corners of her desires right into the melodies. In the 2000s, she went even bolder, working with Madonna. She shook up what pop music could be. Every track she touched pulsed with a one-of-a-kind energy. Fans adored her fiercely. Haters were too scared to speak up. But everyone was curious. Her shows were packed to the brim. Crowds pushed in to hear her stitch together love's messy threads through her bass lines. She never hid who shared her bed or who sent her late-night texts. For LGBTQ+ fans, Meshell was a shield. She gave them a foothold to stand free. Some said if she hadn't made music, she'd still have found a way to speak out. On stage, under golden lights, her bass cut through gender divides. If Meshell kept singing, those clubs would stay packed every time she picked up her instrument. Truth spilled out, ignoring what anyone called normal. 15. Ian Polk, black director, exposing gay men's lives right in Hollywood's face. Ian Polk, filmmaker, director, and screenwriter, refused to let the stories of black, gay, and bisexual men stay buried in the dark with punks and Noah's Ark. He didn't just make films, he used the screen to tear apart Hollywood's fake moral facades, hiding the truth. In the late 1990s, as a young writer in Los Angeles, Polk was a fixture at black LGBTQ+ meetups, loud parties where he never held back from being close with his lovers. You'd see him laughing, drink in one hand, the other draped around a guy with starry eyes or a short-haired woman. No secrets kept. He knew the price of being openly bisexual, but he chose to speak out rather than bury it. In 2000, Punks hit screens like a slap to the face of audiences who pretended not to see the black gay community living right among them. The film didn't shy away from love scenes, conflicts, or raw bedroom moments, all laid out, daring bigots to look away. Polk didn't stop there. In the early 2000s, Noah's Ark became TV's first series to vividly show the highs, lows, jealousies, breakups, and reconciliations of black gay men. So real, it was almost hard to believe. Polk wasn't afraid to grace the cover of Out magazine, declaring his bisexuality, refusing to let anyone rewrite his story. At screenings, he'd sit front row, lover by his side, man or woman, no need to hide. After the show, you'd see him leave hand in hand, a reminder this truth doesn't fear being seen. Every film he made, every story he told, pulled buried lives into the light, smashing barriers that generations had been forced to endure. Ian Polk made movies. But more than that, he cut the ropes tying down love, letting it exist in its rawest form, whether Hollywood approved or not. 14. Roxane Gay, black writer, tearing down norms, bearing her identity and unbound love. Roxane Gay, a renowned writer, cultural critic, and feminist activist, shook up conversations about feminism, race, and black identity with Bad Feminist and Hunger. From the page to the stage, she forced people to face the truth head-on. In the 2000s, at literary panels in New York and Chicago, Roxane started dropping stories others dodged. She spoke softly, but her words hit hard enough to make audiences flinch. One evening, she'd show up at a cafe with a short-haired woman. A few months later, she'd be seen cozy with a male professor. She didn't hide or justify. Loving men or women, to Roxane, was something worth sharing. By the 2010s, Hunger threw open every door. She wrote about her body, her memories, and how she learned to love herself and others despite the weight of prejudice on black women's shoulders. Her university lectures weren't just academic talks. Standing before hundreds of students, she spoke bluntly about love, gender, and the right to choose your own path. That raw honesty gave others the courage to break their silence. People might have whispered, but the more they did, the louder Roxane's name echoed. She dug into society's sore spots. Her personal life became a mirror for the world to face itself. When someone tried to silence her, they failed every time. She kept writing, kept standing in front of crowds, insisting that no black woman should ever be forced to stay quiet again. 13. Angelica Ross, trans woman, breaking the rules, loving boldly beyond limits. Angelica Ross, a standout black trans actress and founder of Trans Tech Social Enterprises, carved paths for trans people in the tech world, from Pose to American Horror Story. She proved no one could silence a community's voice, even when pushed to the margins. Before Hollywood came calling, Angelica lived without fear. In the 2000s, hustling in Chicago, she was a regular at LGBTQ+ gatherings, connecting with all kinds of people. Not yet a star, she was a relentless activist. But she didn't just talk about rights. She hit up bars, joined support groups, and quietly built bold. Romantic relationships with both trans and non-trans folks. She didn't hide, and she didn't care who judged her. In 2016, her story aired, and Angelica exploded as a phenomenon. On camera, she openly declared her attraction to both men and women, regardless of their gender. That announcement shocked some, but Angelica didn't blink. For her, love had no boundaries. Agree, and you'd nod along. Disagree, and you could step back. By 2018, Pose hit screens as Candy Ferocity. Angelica threw black trans stories right in Hollywood's face, off-screen. She was seen with lovers of all genders at parties, tech conferences, and activist events. Her personal life mirrored her roles: free, fierce, and unapologetic. Some called Angelica reckless. Maybe they were right, but that recklessness pulled thousands like her out of the shadows. Her boundless love became a source of strength, pushing back against outdated prejudices. Angelica Ross isn't just an actress. She's living proof that being trans, bisexual, and black can't cage someone determined to break free and stand tall. 12. Lena Waithe, rare screenwriter daring to unmask Hollywood. Lena Waithe, a screenwriter, actress, and producer, is one of the few who dared to bring black LGBTQ+ stories to mainstream TV. She won an Emmy for Master of None and created The Chai, a series that ripped open the hidden truths of Chicago's black community. In 2014, as Master of None started turning heads, Lena didn't sit back quietly like many of her peers. She spoke openly about her bisexuality, sharing that she'd been drawn to both men and women since she was a kid. Her bluntness caught the industry off guard. But Lena didn't care. She showed up at events big and small, arm in arm with a boyfriend one day, a girlfriend the next, unfazed by curious stares. Back in the 2010s, Hollywood insiders started whispering about her private parties, where Lena lived her multifaceted self without restraint. Many guessed those experiences bled into The Chai, which hit screens in 2018. The show's characters loved who they wanted, defying rules and scrutiny. At the GLAAD Media Awards, Lena stood before crowds, talking about love, freedom, and living as her own proof. Off stage, she wore no mask. Those who thought she was just talking for clout were dead wrong. Lena used her scripts, her dialogue, and even her personal life to remind Hollywood that black LGBTQ+ people don't need permission to live authentically. And as long as someone like Lena is out there, no wall can stand in the way. 11. Janelle Mon&aacute, rebel icon, smashing the boundaries of love. Janelle Mon&aacute, a singer, actress, and songwriter who exploded with Dirty Computer, Moonlight, and Hidden Figures, became impossible to ignore when it comes to creative freedom and love without limits. In 2018, she rocked Hollywood, telling Rolling Stone she was bisexual and pansexual. Insiders weren't surprised. Since the 2000s, she'd been diving into Atlanta's underground scene, falling into romances with men and women alike, no matter their gender. Those who caught her in clubs whispered that she laughed at every mold. When Dirty Computer dropped, Make Me Feel was a steel-plated answer to anyone who thought she was just playing a role. Through the 2010s, she was seen with lovers, from unknown artists to rising stars. Each relationship was a slap to outdated boundaries. Janelle didn't just make music or act, she forced the world to face a simple truth. It's not who you love that matters. It's living true. 10. Raven-Symon&eacute, Disney star who ripped open the secrets of love. Raven-Symon&eacute, Disney's golden child with That's So Raven and the Cheetah Girls, was one of the rare black teens dominating TV screens, but behind her sweet smile and family-friendly shows was a private world few knew about. Through the 2000s, she was busy filming, touring, and grinning for cameras, but quietly slipped away to Los Angeles spots, confiding her love for women to a trusted few. In 2013, she fired a shot on Twitter, shutting down rumors and confirming she wasn't afraid to love anyone, regardless of gender, as long as they were the right person. In 2014 on The View, she doubled down, speaking clearly about living her truth. She became a regular at Pride events, a beacon for Black youth grappling with their sexuality. Raven-Symon&eacute is no longer the obedient Disney kid. She's a living icon, smashing norms and paving the way for a generation to love whoever they want without fear. 9. Frank Ocean, a revolution in love and identity through music. Frank Ocean isn't just a music star. He redefined how hip-hop and R&B see sexuality. With groundbreaking albums like Channel Orange and Blonde, he breathed new life into music, demanding the world's attention. But what made him a true legend was his bold move in 2012, coming out as bisexual in a heartfelt Tumblr letter. No one could forget the moment he shared his first love. A man more than a gifted artist, he dared to shift an industry cloaked in silence and prejudice. In the 2010s, working with Odd Future in Los Angeles, he openly admitted he was drawn to both men and women. When Thinkin' About You dropped, it wasn't just a chart topper, it was a declaration of love that ignored gender lines. At festivals like Coachella, he took the stage with unshakable confidence. A role model for LGBTQ+ youth, Frank Ocean became a pioneer, freeing artists and fans to embrace their true identities. 8. Nakhane, from defying prejudice to an icon of free love. Nakhane, a South African singer, songwriter, actor, and author, shook up music and film with works like You Will Not Die and The Wound. He was the perfect example of breaking boundaries through art. But he went further. In 2015, in a South Africa still steeped in prejudice, Nakhane stunned the world by coming out as bisexual when The Wound hit screens. The film wasn't just a movie, it was a direct challenge to the Joseph Society's rigid views on gender and love. He didn't stop there. His music carried the fight forward. Songs from You Will Not Die, especially Clairvoyant, became bold declarations of love without borders. Performing in Johannesburg, he sang with fearless defiance, never hiding who he was. He spoke openly about relationships with men and women in a South Africa quick to judge, with his raw honesty. Nakhane became a symbol of freedom and courage, a spark for African LGBTQ+ youth. 7. Keiynan Lonsdale, the flash star and a voice for free love. Keiynan Lonsdale, known for The Flash and Love, Simon, is an actor, singer, dancer, and a trailblazer for openness in love. With his album Rainbow Boy and song Kiss the Boy, he challenged every limit on how love is seen. In 2017, he shook the world, coming out as bisexual on Instagram, declaring his love for both men and women and his commitment to living true. While filming The Flash in Vancouver, he dove into LGBTQ+ community events, sharing romantic moments with men and women alike. From Sydney to Los Angeles, he turned heads with his acting and became a symbol of free love. Kiss the Boy was his bold anthem for a world where love doesn't need society's stamp of approval. 6. Syd, from hidden star to LGBTQ+ music icon. Syd, the frontwoman of the internet, redefined neo-soul and R&B with deeply emotional tracks. She stunned the music world by coming out as bisexual in 2017, kicking off a new chapter in her career. In the 2010s, she bared her soul in Los Angeles clubs, seen with both men and women, from heartfelt performances to her unfiltered social media presence. She created a safe space for LGBTQ+ fans. She didn't just make music, she lived and loved with her whole being. Songs like Body from Finn 2017 were declarations of love without limits. Her lyrics and melodies were an invitation for the world to embrace fluid identities. Sid became an inspiration for countless young people, a vital voice in Black and LGBTQ+ music. 5. Tinashe, rare music star, daring to embrace bisexual love. Tinashe, a talented Zimbabwean-rooted singer and dancer, set the music world ablaze with hits like Two On and Songs for You. But behind her stellar career was an even bolder story of free, unbound love. In 2018, at the height of her fame, Tinashe stepped out of the shadows, coming out as bisexual and sharing that her love didn't care about gender, a move few had the guts to make. Through the 2010s, on tour around the world, she shone on stage and emerged as an LGBTQ+ icon. She spoke openly about relationships with men and women, sparking conversations in the music industry. Her video for Company painted vivid images of free love, unchained by prejudice. Not everyone was on board, but Tinashe didn't waver, lighting up stages with fearless performances. Her journey inspired millions, especially in the Black and LGBTQ+ communities, proving that truth and love are stronger than any bias. 4. Taylor Bennett, Chance the Rapper's brother, rebelling with bisexual identity. Taylor Bennett, a rapper and Chance the Rapper's brother, is a breakout star in modern hip-hop, with albums like Broad Shoulders and Be Yourself. He shook the music world by coming out as bisexual in 2017, claiming his right to love freely in a hip-hop scene riddled with prejudice. Around the release of his Be Yourself mixtape, his lyrics told the whole story, performing in Chicago clubs through the 2010s. He stood with male and female lovers, open and unafraid of judgment. Be Yourself wasn't just a song, it was a powerful call to embrace identity and love without boundaries. Taylor's fire reshaped how hip-hop views identity, inspiring young Black people to stand proud against all odds. 3. Amandla Stenberg, a career, soaring on an open bisexual journey. Amandla Stenberg, the Black actress famous for playing Rue in the Hunger Games and starring in Everything, became a role model for young Black people, not just through her acting, but as a fierce voice for social justice. In 2016, she came out as bisexual in a Teen Vogue Snapchat video, breaking down walls and touching millions of hearts, even as a teen. Amandla stood out with bold views on freedom and justice at Black Lives Matter events in Los Angeles. She spoke up for Black rights and lived her truth. She was seen with male and female lovers, from activists to artists. Her role in the Hate U Give 2018 wasn't just a performance, it was a declaration of openness and embracing diverse identities. It's no surprise she became a beacon for Black youth, giving them the courage to own their gender and love. 2. Willow Smith, Will Smith's daughter, living true to her identity. Willow Smith, the vibrant daughter of Will and Jada Pinkett Smith, is a singer, actress, and icon of progressive thinking. In 2019, on her mom's Red Table Talk, she came out as bisexual, declaring her love for both men and women without distinction. No longer the little girl from I Am Legend or the Whip My Hair kid. Willow is now an inspiration for young people seeking freedom in love and identity. Growing up in a famous family, she faced intense public scrutiny, but never let it stop her. In the 2010s, at festivals like Afropunk, she shone through her music, genderless fashion, and unbound romantic relationships. Wait a minute. 2015 was a clear testament to her free spirit. On social media, she never hesitated to share her diverse love, creating space for Gen Z to talk openly about gender and love. 1. DreamDoll, from Bad Girls Club to a bold anthem for bisexual identity. DreamDoll isn't just known for stirring up drama on Bad Girls Club. She's a fierce New York rapper, celebrated for her bold, unapologetic hip-hop with tracks like Ah 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 and Splish Splash. She never hid her relationships with both men and women. From her early days in the game, she stood out not just for her talent, but for her fearless openness about her love life. In 2021, during Pride Month, DreamDoll made waves again, boldly declaring her bisexuality on Instagram. She didn't just make music, she created a ripple in the LGBTQ+ community. Her confidence and grit turned her into a new icon, not just for hip-hop, but for anyone seeking freedom in love. After hearing all these stories, has your perspective on these stars shifted? Behind the dazzling stage lights is a real fight to live authentically. Their courage deserves respect and support. If you're shocked, intrigued, or want to dive deeper into more showbiz secrets like these, drop your thoughts in the comments below this video. Don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of the hidden corners we'll uncover in the world of fame.